Okay, you're in Microsoft Excel and you're trying to use the forecast function. I'm going to show you two examples. The first of which is where we have linear growth, and the second we have seasonal patterns within our growth. So let's start off with this first example. I've got sales of ice creams made on these dates, but I've also recorded the temperature on those dates. And I've plotted this data on this chart, and you can see I've got linear growth. The hotter it gets, the more ice creams I sell. But I want to know how many ice creams I'm going to sell today, and the temperature is a very hot 40 degrees centigrade. So to do this, I can use forecast.linear. Now X is the temperature that we're trying to forecast for, comma, known Y's. So I'm trying to get a sales value for this temperature. So the known Y's are the existing sales values, comma, known X's. So remember, X was our temperature. So known X's are the historic temperatures. So if I close the bracket and press enter, you can see I get an answer of 165 sales at this temperature. If I took it down to 38 degrees, it will give me the forecast for that temperature. Okay, let's move on to the second example where we have seasonal patterns within our data. So to forecast for this scenario, we use forecast.ets. So the dates that we want to forecast for are here, comma, values. So in this example, that's going to be the user signups, comma, timeline. Well, that'll be the month that I'm recording the signups for. Now, the other arguments are non-mandatory. You can see I've got square brackets around their names. So let's try this without using those non-mandatory arguments. Now, you can see here that it's actually forecasting linear growth. So it hasn't picked up the seasonality. So I'm going to tell it what the seasonal period is. And I can see from here that there is a pattern that every 3 months we seem to have an increase in sales and then a drop. You can see that pattern here. So within the formula, I'm going to use the seasonality argument, and I'm going to state the value as 3 months. And I get a much better answer showing that seasonal pattern. So the next thing we're going to do is calculate the confidence interval. So the confidence interval is the range below and above this forecast value that 95% of data points will reside within. So I'll show you how to calculate that. You're going to use this function here. So here are my target dates. My values again are here, the signups, and the timeline again is here, the months. I'll just extend this range down. Now the confidence level by default is 95%, but I am going to link it to this cell here, so I can change the confidence level if I want to. And seasonality, we've decided, is 3 months. So close the bracket, press enter, and there we are. So I can then work out an optimistic scenario, which would be equals all the forecasts plus the confidence interval. And then a pessimistic scenario, which would be all the forecasts minus the confidence interval. So 95% of the data points will fall within these ranges. If I change the value 95% to 90%, 90% of data points will fall within these ranges. Let's just change it back to 95%. Now, if you want to plot this information on this chart, there's actually a very easy way to do so. If I click into the original data and go to the Data tab on the ribbon, in the Forecast group, you'll see a button called Forecast Sheet. And you can see it's going to create the graph for me. If I open up the options, so the confidence interval value is 95%. I'll keep it as that. Seasonality I'll set manually as 3. And if I then click on Create, it creates that graph for me, showing the forecast. And it's also calculated the pessimistic scenario and the optimistic scenario for me, and the values here are exactly the same as the values I've calculated in this sheet.